Hello, everyone. Hello, how are you today? We're going to get started in just a minute. For those of you that aren't familiar with us, this is week 3 of the Career Reinvention Challenge. My name is JT O'Donnell. I'm the founder of Work It Daily, and I'm actually running our challenge this January. Very excited to have you all here. So it's a holiday for a lot of us here in the US, but I came in today specifically so that I could spend time with all of you because I'm really excited about the exercise that I dropped today. It's the 3rd exercise in the series, and I'm really looking forward to talking to all of you about what you experienced last week with last week's exercise, which was super powerful, and also what you should be doing this week. So welcome to the program. Couple of things that you need to know. I'm going to be talking to you all at first, and then I'm going to take some questions at the end. I'll be here for about 30 minutes. I am recording this session, and it will be available to everybody who's part of our challenge, who's part of the Work It Daily membership inside the 28-day Career Reinvention Challenge notes. So if you have to leave or you can't stay for some reason, you can always rewatch it. So that's a good thing. But that's about it. And my only other housekeeping is that, talk amongst yourself. Please keep it positive. I know that we're all working on this together. Let's be respectful of one another and let's enjoy this, right? So why don't we get started? Should we get started? Okay. So for those of you that have been sticking with me every day through this process, you should reach around, give yourself a pat on the back. I told you at the beginning of this challenge that it shouldn't even be called a challenge because it's really you giving a gift to yourself. And that's the gift of really growing and looking at your career in a completely different way, probably looking at your life in a completely different way, to be honest, since career is such a big part of our lives. And hopefully, if you spend this time working on yourself and getting off the treadmill and, that gerbil wheel, that hamster wheel of work where you're just kind of rushing and making decisions, if I can just get you to step back and take a look at this a bit more collectively, holistically, from 30,000 feet looking down, that you're going to have some aha moments that can help you make better decisions. So last week's exercise, as you know, was to analyze your career narrative. And it was quite eye-opening. I was in there every day with you all inside our private Slack community, monitoring the channel, and lots of people struggling with this idea of, I actually have a lot of negatives in my career history, my career story, my self-perception of what has happened in my career. Remember, this is a narrative, meaning it's your narrative. If I was to show 10 people your career history, all 10 of them would write a different narrative. They would write a different story. We are all extremely subjective human beings. We process things, and a lot of times we don't process things, and we hold on to them, and they become a big pile of rocks, which I showed you last week, and I still have with me here, that we lug around with us. And, a couple of you this week said, wow, JT, I realize I've been walking around with boulders. Some people said, I've been walking around with this backpack, and it's exhausting. It's tiring, and I want to drop them. But I can't wrap my head around how to let go of this negativity or how to rewrite this negativity into something positive. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, because I knew that was going to happen, didn't I? As I said, I'm not just the author of this course, this challenge that you're going through. I'm somebody who lived it. I am a client. I have done it myself. I know what happens. And it was the same situation I was up against, where there were just parts that I couldn't fully process. I couldn't drop the rock, because to me, no matter how I looked at it, it was a negative, and I wasn't there. I wasn't there to rewrite it. So what did I do to get over that? What I did is I went and said, okay, if this is a negative, I isolate this negative statement that I have. Where is it coming from? What are the beliefs that I have, the assumptions that I'm making that are making this and labeling this something negative? Because that's what has to happen. Everybody think about that for just a minute. If you're labeling an experience in your life as a negative one, then it is in conflict. It is in contrast with some beliefs that you hold on to, some assumptions that you're making. And you have to ask yourself, what are those? And where did they come from? And who made them? And do I still agree with them? Do they serve me? And that's probably one of the most important things that I can say to people going forward, is that to be successful in your career and in life as a whole, you have to be super clear in what you believe in. What are your principles? Because you live by those. You make choices by those. But something people forget to do is go back and evaluate them and say, as I've learned and as I've grown as a person, is it possible that I've outgrown my beliefs? Is it possible that those principles that I was working off of no longer work for me? And if they don't, let them go. That's part of your problem. And so you have to look at where the negativity is, isolate it, and then take a look at the beliefs that are creating this struggle, this turmoil that you're experiencing. So this week's exercise, which I just dropped a couple hours ago in there, is going to take you through defining your belief system and getting very clear in that and trying to create beliefs that will serve you to help you turn those negatives into positives, help you really work through them. And this is not a simple exercise, folks. This is why I give you a week at a time to do this stuff, because you're going to do it for a while, then you're going to take a break, and your brain's going to think about it. You're going to come back and do it again, and then go back and do it again. I mean, this stuff takes time. And as you know, for those of you that have participated, I've also curated some unbelievable videos, supplemental videos from incredible speakers out there to show you and to reinforce what we're talking about, to get you thinking every day about the exercise that you're doing. So of course, this week, I'm going to have videos every day for you around setting your beliefs and getting clear in your beliefs and throwing out beliefs that don't work for you anymore. So I wanted to hit on some things here that I took a lot of notes on this, and I wanted to give you a couple of personal examples so that you can see what I'm talking about and maybe wrap your head around this a bit, because that's been a lot of the feedback inside the challenges. JT, I don't know how to turn this into a negative, into a positive. I don't know what to do with this one. And I can't change those for you. The real work has to come from you changing it for yourself, because if I change it, it's inauthentic. It's, well, that's what JT said, or that's, you go tell your friend and they say, well, say it this way. It has to come from you. When you create that belief, when you change that negative to a positive and truly believe it and feel it and embrace it, now that's where the growth comes. So I'm not going to do you any favors by trying to give you a new way to look at things. You have to do that for yourself. And I'm going to show you that a little bit more in a minute. So again, changing negatives to positives, let me just be clear. Point number one is challenging when you don't have the right belief system. So anybody here, raise your hand. If you add some negatives in your career narrative that you're struggling to turn around, this is an indication that you need some belief clarification. Your beliefs are in contrast. Something is going on that's bothering you. Okay. So the second thing I talked about was dropping the rocks. Dropping the rocks is about isolating the thoughts and your patterns. And what's happening is that you've got thoughts and patterns, I'll call them thought habits, that aren't serving you anymore. And that's where this conflict is coming from. And it's really bugging you, and it's giving you this back and forth all the time that you have to work through. And so that's what we're looking to isolate and focus our attention on and work through it until you truly are on the other side of it, can drop the rock and move forward. Because this is what's going to get you that career clarity. So I told you I was going to give you some examples. So I'm going to give you 2 examples from my own personal experience. Now, the first real set of rocks that I had to deal with the first time that I did this whole career narrative exercise on myself, when I thought about what started to pile up for me, I isolated all the negatives that I thought I couldn't get around, and I saw a pattern. And the pattern was they were all related to my beliefs around money. They were all related around my beliefs around money. And so where did that come from? I had to start and go back and say, okay, JT, what experiences did you have in your life that you processed and you labeled and you made assumptions, and these assumptions are no longer serving you? So to be perfectly honest, folks, money was growing up in my life was the cause of a lot of turmoil. My parents ended up going through a very, very ugly divorce. My father owned a business, and it had some really ups and downs, as all businesses do, entrepreneurial businesses do. But money became a very uncomfortable focus and some problems in our life as a family. And so I started to have some real anxiety around money. So things like, money, the pursuit of money will cost you your relationship, your marriage. The pursuit of money, will blind you, and you won't see the reality. You won't see what's in front of you. I had all these sort of beliefs around money, and it only grew as I got older and sort of took it in and said, wow, I have a lot of these beliefs that money's bad, that wanting too much money is a bad thing, that you're selfish, that you're greedy, that karma was going to come back and get me for having money, for pursuing money. And so as I was looking at these problems in my life, it was all tied to these beliefs. So I said, I got to fix this. I got to go out and get some help in the area of my relationship, my thought process around money. And, one of the videos that I shared with you all from Marissa Peer last week, she does a whole bunch of really interesting videos if you want to check her out. But she talked about this idea of replacing these negative phrases that you have. Instead of calling it money, call it energy, right? So you would say, it sounds so negative to say, I want more money, right? We're like, oh, that's greedy. But now replace it. I want more energy. Yeah, of course I do. Everyone wants more energy, And so when I started to look at, if I replaced it and said, I want more energy, I can be a more productive person if I have more energy. I can be a better friend, spouse, mother, daughter, community member, business owner, manager, if I have energy. See where I'm going with this? It is how we look at money. We are completely subjective in how we label this. And this was a big one for me. And I started to notice that this is a big one for a lot of people in their careers. A lot of choices that they make, a lot of self-sabotage, a lot of blame that they put in their career has to do with money. The idea that, money is power, money is prestige, money is respect, money is a voice, So if you think money is those things and you don't have money, then in essence, you're saying, I don't have a voice. I don't have respect. So is that the case? Of course not. So when I started to dive into this and recognize it, my world changed. And I said, oh my gosh, I've got to define my relationship with money in a positive way. And I have to have a set of beliefs around money and know that if I can earn more money and make more money, that's energy. And that I can use it for good, that I believe I'm a good person and I can do good stuff with that. So I had to really think about this. And I challenge everyone here to really dig in there and look at your patterns, because this one was a big one for me. And I know it's a big one for a lot of other people. So let's talk about a second one I had. So the second one I had was around family obligations. So I am the firstborn oldest child. And as I mentioned, my parents had a pretty traumatic divorce. It was traumatic to me. Look, everyone has their issues. Everyone has their childhood things. But their divorce was a biggie for me. And I felt as the firstborn, my goal was to make everyone happy, right? Try to make mom happy, try to make dad happy, especially when they finally divorced, take care of my younger siblings, protect them, guard them. And I became this massive caregiver. I mean, think about it. I'm a career coach, for goodness sakes. It's in my DNA to want to be a caregiver. But over the years, there were some challenges. And when I looked at my narrative and I looked at my story, again, there were these setbacks, and they were always around the theme as I started to pile my rocks up around this perception of my family obligations. Now, I'm a firm believer that family comes first, right? We want family to be important, but there's a difference between empowering your family and your friends and enabling them. And I realized that I was taking on this mama bear role way more than I was supposed to. And that was actually hurting me, my career, my life. And once again, as I started to dissect this and look at my belief system and I saw that it wasn't serving me, that I needed to change this, that, people have to fix themselves. People have to help themselves. People have to want help. And that was a real eye opener for me. And again, when my mindset shifted around this, when I built some new beliefs around this, everything changed. Everything got better. So I tell you that because when I applied this technique thoroughly, when I say it was a quantum leap in my career, in my life, that is no exaggeration. The business exploded. My family life, infinitely better. My relationships, my level of happiness and joy. I mean, I'm always a pretty upbeat, optimistic person, but I cannot tell you how much more empowered I felt, and how much better I felt. So what does that look like now? Well, I actually, in our challenge, if you're a member, by the way, if you're watching this and you're not a member of Work It Daily, you don't have access to these tools, you should join us, and then that's how you can get access to them. But for those of you that are participating in the challenge, active members of Work It Daily, when you go into the challenge, you'll see in exercise 3 today, I included the 10 beliefs that I built that created that transformational change for me when I applied this technique. And, they were so important to me. I wrote them down, I read them, and then I rewrote what I wanted my future to look like. And all of those negatives just started to drop away because I had this new set of beliefs to work off. So let me give you a couple examples. I'm not going to give all 10 away. For those of you that are in the challenge, you can look at all 10. We can talk about them privately in the channel. But let's look at this one. The first belief I came up with as a result of this experience was, I can't save the world and it's not my job. Building the internet's career therapy portal and changing millions of lives will have a huge ripple effect on the world. That is my work. That was a huge one for me. Let me say it again. I can't save the world and it's not my job. I was taking everything on. And when you're trying to save the world and do everything, when you're feeling that much angst, you can't get anything done. I realized I had to get in my lane. I had to do my mission. My mission is to have the biggest, best career therapy portal in the world. Let everyone become their own career therapist. Let everyone get the career coaching they want and deserve and move their careers forward. That is my mission. That is my purpose. That's what I can do well. I can't do everything else. Put my energy into that. Everything got so much easier because anytime something comes in, I can literally look at this belief and go, oh, is this part of my vision? Is this part of the thing that I've been put here to do? Okay, then I got to let that go. Somebody else is going to catch that. There's millions and millions of people in this world. Someone else is going to make that their priority. I've got my lane. Get in your lane, JT. And it was like that. I just was able to start batting away all those negative things that were coming at me, all these additional pressures and things that I thought I had to be responsible for, that I had to think about. Nope, just started batting them away because I had my lane because of this belief that I wrote for myself. Big one. Here's another one. My goals are healthy. My relationships are strong. My life's work is valid and positive. Pursuing it will not ruin me. It will make all our lives even better. My goals are healthy. My relationships are strong. My life's work is valid and positive. That was another one. Going back to that earlier conversation, I said I was worried about money. Like, what if this idea works and we start to make money? Awesome. Invest it. Make it bigger. Help millions and more people, JT. What's your problem? But my problem was I had been carrying all these rocks and this baggage around money. Oh my gosh, if we start to make money as a business, what does that mean? And I had to fix that in myself. This is good stuff. Helping millions of people feel better about their career and get the satisfaction they want and deserve. Get out of your own way, JT. Go make this happen. Make the big business bigger. Make money so that you can spend money, you can make it bigger. So just a couple of examples. Again, there's 10 beliefs that I wrote. I encourage all of you that are part of the challenge to go check them out. I'm happy to talk about each and every one with you and what it meant to me. But when I got these together, I can't even tell you. All I need to do is read them on a regular basis. I get so grounded. They're my commandments. They're what remind me of what I need to do and why I need to do it. And they make me feel so much better. I'll give you one more because I loved it. Abundance creates more abundance. Scarcity creates more scarcity. Therefore, always think abundantly. Think about that. That one was a big. So there's abundance. There's enough for everyone. If I believe there's enough for everyone, we can create it. But if I'm so focused on there isn't enough or I've got to protect, scarcity creates scarcity. Abundance creates abundance. When you understand that one, oh my gosh, it's like I can't even tell you. It is so freeing. It's unbelievable. And then one more. I choose to empower people, not enable them. Big one for me. Now, every time I'm looking at a situation, I ask myself, am I enabling that person to continue bad behavior or am I empowering that person? Because there's a difference. So, okay, there you go. There's 4 of them. Those are 4 of my beliefs out of my 10. I certainly have more than that now, but I really wanted to share with all of you so you know and kind of get a sense of how this works. So that's what you're going to do this week. You're going to create your belief system. You're going to look at your negative challenges that you had in your career narrative. You're going to ask yourself, what belief system am I using? Where's that coming from? And how do I change it? How do I change it and make this serve me? How do I get better and start to fix those things? Because once I learn from them and I create a really empowering belief, now I've truly grown. It won't happen to me again. History will not repeat itself, folks. When you create a set of beliefs that really empower you and serve you going forward, that are positive. And that's what you need to build and understand. And no two people are going to have the same set of beliefs. We're all going to be different because our stories are all different. Our narratives, our history is different. And so that's on us. And, it's the people that are going through life, and I promise I'll take questions in a second, but it's the people who are going through life not getting off the treadmill, not looking at this authentically, not being really individualized in their approach, that are suffering. When you're on autopilot, when you are following society's rules, when you're doing what other people tell you to do or what other people say is important or right, without you validating and saying, do I even agree with that? Is that really my definition of success? Is that really my definition of money? Is that really my definition of satisfaction? We don't know, because we've spent our whole lives on autopilot doing what society told us to do. So now I'm telling you, get off the treadmill. And it's scary. Don't get me wrong. I'm asking you to figure it out. You're saying, where do I start? I don't even know. I don't even know myself, JT. Well, I'm giving you the process to do that. And I'm telling you that if you follow this, it will work and you will get better and better and better at this. And this is when you're going to break free of the golden handcuffs. You're going to get empowered. And you're going to feel so much better. So, all right. So there it is. I'm going to stop and take a few questions. I'm only on for 30 minutes today. I've got 10 minutes where I can take questions, folks. So if you have a question, put the word question in all caps here, and then you can write the question out for me, and I can definitely answer that for you. So, Sandra says, I feel like I'm being too literal about rewrite the negative into a positive, but I was fired from my last job because my CEO wasn't happy with my performance. How do you rewrite that into a positive? So, okay. So that's a great situation, Sandra, where you've got to ask yourself, all right, I was let go. Let's look at the bigger picture here. Why was I let go? What have I learned from that experience? Would I ever put myself in that position again? How would I avoid not being in that position again? What could I have done differently? If you armchair quarterback that situation, Sandra, what could you have done differently? And what do you now believe so that if you were to implement that belief, this wouldn't happen to you again? You wouldn't be in a situation where someone fires you for performance and you're blindsided by it. That's what I'm asking you to explore right now and to come up with some beliefs, because once you come up with the beliefs, you can go, you know what? That experience just helped me form a belief that's going to let me change the game going forward. That's growth. And now all of a sudden you're going to say, I learned a powerful lesson at my last role, right? This is what I learned. This is how I grew. And so that's when you're changing it from a negative into a positive. Right now, the way that you see this, and I know you get this, Sandra, you're saying, I'm a victim, right? I'm a victim. I got fired for performance. And I'm telling you that you've got to step back and look at it and say, I'm not a victim. I'm the hero of this story because I'm going to look at that situation, get smarter, figure out some beliefs that I now have that'll make sure that that doesn't happen again. That's the growth. That's what I'm looking to have you do. Does that make sense? It's a great example because there's a lot of people, you get that rock, you get stuck and you go, I don't know what to do with it. And this is what I'm talking about. Excellent. Let's see. Yeah, great stuff. Christopher Dixon says, for me, it's that I'm not allowed to lose money or I'm a failure. Okay, see, that's a good one, Christopher, right? So losing money is a failure. But is it? I mean, I could argue that a lot of people have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on very expensive educations and they'll never make the money back. So is that losing? Is that a failure? Right? But no, they got a 4-year degree. They got an education. But people are saying, oh, okay, so you're not going to, make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, so you're a failure. Of course, we don't think that way, right? But we have all these weird perceptions around money that are holding us back. Sometimes losing money is what we would call a working education. You learn something. I know for me it was, I've been building this business for many years and bootstrap the entire thing. No, there's no venture capitalists, there's no funders in this business of Work It Daily. I did it solo and with this amazing group of women, and so have I made a ton of mistakes early on as we were figuring out the business model? Sure. Did I lose money? Yeah. Personal money, my personal money, nobody else's, my own. Absolutely. But to me, it was this powerful working education that taught me things and got me better and stronger, and now figuring it out. So you've got to really re-examine those things. I'm not saying go wild now and say, all right, it's time to lose all sorts of money and be free with it. Not what we're suggesting. But it sounds like, Christopher, that this is something that's so ingrained in you that it's hurting your other opportunities to look at things in a different way. That's what I'm really trying to get you all to see here today, right? I've got to get you to see that those negative things, there's some beliefs around them, and those beliefs could very well be what's holding you up. Or you didn't create a set of beliefs from what you learned. Those negative experiences you didn't take the time to fully process them, learn something from them, and truly grow from them, which is, I was harping on that last week, right? Growing is when you can let go of the negativity and go, I don't see it as a bad thing anymore. I don't get this terrible pain in my heart and my gut when I think about this thing that happened to me in my past, in my career, because now I go, ooh, I learned some great things from that. Oh, I got some amazing beliefs from that thing that's helping me move forward, that's making me smarter and better. I'm not going to say I'm grateful that this terrible thing happened to me. What I'm going to say is that a powerful thing happened to me and I'm the better one for it. I built beliefs. I got smarter. I got stronger. That's what I want to see you all do. That's what the best of the best do. I'll say it again. I said it last week. Are we saying Oprah's never had any problems? We're saying Richard Branson never had any problems. Warren Buffett, anybody, any famous person, they've had problems just like the rest of us, probably even bigger ones, but we don't realize it because what they do is they learn and grow from them. They drop their rocks. They process them. They get some new beliefs. They get smarter. They get stronger. And we all are capable of that. We are all built as human beings and have the same equipment to be able to do that. They're not special. They're not any of those people that you aspire to. They're not better than you. They have the same equipment that you have, the same ability to adjust what they're thinking up here. And this process that I'm taking you through is what they do. They just did it automatically. For whatever reason, they figured out how to do this at an earlier age or at a faster rate. And that's why they're so freaking successful. That's it. Oh, great. Wonderful. Matthew says, I have no ambition. I have no desire to build wealth, build a family, anything. It's like everything out there requires so much work and I have no desire to deal with it. Wow. Okay. So Matthew, did you tune in last week when we talked about this idea? My balloon is way over here. You guys can see it. My little career dream balloon. Bring it over here. So this is my career dream balloon, and this is Matthew. Let me just take this entire bucket of rocks here right now, Matthew. This is you. If I was to let this go, you would pop this balloon, Matthew. That's what we got going on right there. So Matthew, what's happened over your life? You weren't always this way. You were born into this world, a happy baby. Okay, that's the truth. The problem is somewhere along the way, you started collecting so many rocks that you have no ambition, you have no drive, you have no excitement, you have no desire. You are carrying the 2-ton backpack, my friend, the 2-ton backpack. So for you, it's going to be baby steps. There's no way for me to just go and wipe those rocks out for you. If there was, and I will keep working on it. When I come up with that solution, I will make sure the world knows about it. But what I can tell you is that you've got to get back to finding joy in something. You've got to figure out something that brings you energy and excitement, because the fact that you see that as work means that the external, you're being driven by external motivators. So you want all these things, but you don't want to do the work to get them, right? Which means it's not really in you. You haven't found your internal drive to do something just for the sake or the joy of it. And what happens is when we don't exercise that muscle of doing things out of curiosity, doing things out of fun, doing things out of joy, when we don't exercise that muscle, it gets really, really weak and we can't use it. And that's where you are at, my friend, because you're carrying the 2-ton bag of rocks in your backpack and you can't go find joy and fun in anything, right? Is that what it's feeling like? So for you, it has to be a baby step. It has to be going back and finding something that you enjoy doing and just, feeding off that, feeling off that. Now, one thing I will tell you that's worked for clients of mine who have had that before, you are so focused on your problems and understandably so. And if Matthew's situation sounds like any of the rest of you out there, you're so focused on your problems. You're so focused on the weight. So right now, all you can think about is how heavy that dang backpack is. All you think about all day is all the rocks that you're carrying. It's just your head is in massive, massive mode, self-absorption mode. And I'm not meaning that in a negative way, by the way. I'm just saying it's that big. It's all you can think about. So it's very hard for you to think anything else. My advice to you is to do some kind of volunteering. Go find somebody else's problems to focus on. Go and volunteer at any place where you can make a difference, something that you care about, whether it's working at a soup kitchen or a homeless shelter or a charity that you strongly believe in, whether it's for kids or animals or whatever. But I would really encourage you, and I know it's hard, you're even thinking, oh, JT, I don't have any desire to do that too, but I'm telling you, drag yourself there. Sign yourself up just one time. Go for me one time. Go focus on somebody else's problems for a few hours. Stop focusing on yours. Give yourself a break. Take a little time off from the 2-ton bag of rocks that you're walking around with and go help somebody with their rocks for a little while. And you will feel better. And maybe, just maybe, after you have that experience, you'll also give yourself permission, because you'll have done something really wonderful and feel good about it. Your reward is to go do something joyful for yourself. Wow, that was really, I helped other people. I really focused on them. I'm going to go do something for me. And I'm going to feel good about it because I'm going to feel like I earned it. I need to get you back into a mode of, 1, not thinking about your own situation all the time, and 2, feeling a little sense of joy. And if we can do that, we can start to recalibrate. You can start to tackle the rocks. You can start to think about past situations and start to remove them. So hopefully, Matthew, you are doing exercises 1 and 2 of the 28-day challenge, because those are really important foundational steps. And then you'll do this week with the beliefs. But in supplement to that, you need to give yourself a breather with those rocks. You need to step away and work on somebody else's problems for a while. And that will give you a little bit of a break. Okay, try it. Come back and let me know how it works, okay? But I found it to be pretty helpful with my other clients. Yeah. Very, very, very good. So Derek says, my career was spectacular. Then I stayed at home to raise my daughter and I'm stuck on the outside. How can I best use the career narrative? Ooh, fantastic question, Derek. So first of all, how exciting it is that you had a spectacular career, Derek. And then you stayed home to raise your daughter, which is also a spectacular thing that you got to do, right? So many people wish that that was the story they could tell, okay? But now we hear this thing, I'm stuck on the outside. You are a classic example, Derek, of somebody that's got to ask themselves, what beliefs have put you in that position? So you've got some beliefs around career and what career success looks like, and what people will respect and what people will listen to. You've got some challenges right there. I guarantee it. Just listening to you saying, I'm stuck on the outside. Think about the choice of words that you just made. So you've got to ask yourself, what do you believe about career that makes you think that you're failing in this situation? Because that's what's happening, right? In your mind, you're failing because you're stuck on the outside, because you've got a set of beliefs that you believe are the rules of engagement, and you're in contrast with those rules. And therefore, the result is you look at the situation as a bad thing. I need you to flip that all the way around, my friend. I need you to break the rules, and I'm going to give you an example of that. So when I decided to walk away from corporate America and figure out what I was going to do for a career. And I became a career coach, and I started to build this up and think about building a business. One of the huge fears that I had was, how was I going to do this and still be in my two daughters' lives, right? I was the primary caregiver. I left to stay home with my little ones, right? And people said, you can't build a business. You can't do that. You can't have both, JT. And you're in New Hampshire. You can't build $1 billion business in New Hampshire. I mean, you're up in farmland. You're not in any respectable town like Boston or New York City or San Francisco where all this stuff is happening. So you're in the wrong location. You're telling us you want to work part-time because you're raising a family. You can't do this. You know, you don't have any clout. So I had all that going at me. And if I had believed all those assumptions, if I had incorporated those in as my beliefs, wow, we would not all be sitting here today. Flat out, wouldn't be here. Not at all. I had to challenge all of those beliefs and say, I can do this. I can build a business and work it around my family and get it to that point. And, you know, I laugh now because, you know, I was one of the first who was taking conference calls with kids in the background. You know, that was a huge faux pas. You can't do that, right? So there's just so many things, so many rules that I had to break, so many beliefs that I had to break in my head in order to get where I wanted to be. And now here I am, right? And have built an entire business around my beliefs around work-life balance. I think you all know this. We're a 35-hour work week place. Everyone's paid for 40 hours, but we only work 35 hours a week here. We have 7-hour work days and complete flex time. So we have Christmas to New Year's off, paid. We have 4th of July week off, paid, plus 2 weeks vacation for everybody, plus all the holidays. So I've built this business around what I needed for my life and said, I bet there's other people out there who would like this too. And so let's build it for ourselves. Let's build a company around that. But if I had listened to all of those, you know, beliefs about what I can and can't have because I was staying home with children, we literally would not be here. So I challenge you, Derek, and you sound like an incredibly bright individual. I challenge you to go through all of the exercises of the Reinvention Challenge. And then specifically when we get to this point, ask yourself, what beliefs am I holding on to right now that are not serving me, that are making me think I'm on the outside? And change that. Go change it, Derek. Make it happen. Okay. It's exciting when you do it. It's pretty exciting. All right. So I'm just going to wrap it up here and say, thank you so much for stopping by. I really loved having you here today. I hope that you are excited about week 3 of the challenge. Please make sure all my members that you go in, you download the document so that you can look at it. Oh, there's my balloon. There's your career dreams rolling through. If you have questions, you know what to do. We can carry this conversation on together. We can carry it on inside the Slack channel. Don't forget to go in, comment. I love all of you that are commenting every day, asking your questions. I am manning those channels, so I'm in there responding to everyone. Really appreciate your honesty and your participation. It's been incredible. But have a good week. Get those beliefs together. Write out your belief system. Be on the lookout for my videos every day to help support you with this. And then we'll be back again next week with week 4 of the challenge and another very cool exercise that you'll be working on. But this one's a biggie this week. You can do it, okay? All right, everyone. You are so great. I love having you all here. I will talk to you soon, okay? Take care. Bye-bye.